Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. Wherever you are in this world, I wish you well. Welcome to another episode of the Sacred Raven podcast. Grab yourself a nice cup of tea and let's get cozy. So, the previous episode is titled As the Wheel Turns, Ostara. I thought I would discuss the Wheel of the Year in this episode. The Wheel of the Year is a symbolic calendar that represents the 8 festivals, or sabbats, celebrated by many modern-day pagans, Wiccans, and witches. And I use the term modern day because there are many that believe this wheel has been celebrated for centuries upon centuries, but that is simply not the case. The concept of the Wheel of the Year was first suggested by Jacob Grimm around 1835, and it was later fixed in its present form by the Wicca movement in the 1950s and early 60s. The wheel marks moments in time to celebrate, honor, revere, and work with specific energies. Each sabbat corresponds to an important turning point in nature's annual journey through the seasons. Devoting your attention to the Wheel of the Year can allow you to better attune yourself to the energetic cycles of nature. It gives you an opportunity to hear what each season is whispering to you, rather than working and struggling against the natural tides. If you were to examine an image of the Wheel of the Year, you would find it looks similar to that of a ship's wheel. There are 8 evenly spaced spokes in a wheel, representing the year as a whole. The dates on which each sabbat falls are nearly evenly spaced on the calendar as well. Depending on the hemisphere you're in, the dates of the sabbats would be opposite from the other. The wheel is comprised of 2 groups of 4 sabbats each. The 4 solar festivals, which relate to the sun's position in the sky, are the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the autumn equinox, and the winter solstice. The 4 fire festivals, also known as cross-quarter holidays, are Imbolc, Beltane, Lunasa, and Samhain, and these fall in between the solar festivals. The winter solstice, which is also considered as Yule or midwinter, falls on around December 21st and 22nd in the northern hemisphere, and June 20th and 21st in the southern hemisphere. This occurs when nighttime is at its longest. In some neo-pagan traditions, this is a time when the Holly King is destined to lose his battle to his lighter aspect, the Oak King. Candles are lit, feasts are enjoyed, Yule logs are created, and evergreen foliage is brought indoors to serve as a reminder that despite the harshness of winter, life and light endures. Imbolc falls on February 1st in the northern hemisphere and August 1st in the southern hemisphere. This is when the ground is just starting to thaw, signaling that it's time to prepare for the approaching spring planting season. This is a sabbat during which some pagans give thanks to Brigid and bless candles as well to symbolize the increasing daylight, which comes with hope for an abundant spring. Ostara, also known as the spring equinox, falls on around March 20th and the 21st in the northern hemisphere, and September 22nd and 23rd in the southern. This marks a time for balance, renewal, and growth. For Wiccans, this is when the goddess represents her maiden aspect and when the god has become a young man. It's a great time for planting seeds and celebrating the fertile spring. We decorate eggs as a symbol of fertility, life, and hope, and perform rituals to energize ourselves. Beltane, or May Day, occurs on April 30th and May 1st in the Northern Hemisphere, and October 31st and November 1st in the Southern. This heralds a time of abundance and romance. Agriculturally, it marked the start of the summer season. It's celebrated by decorating and dancing around the maypole, which represents the male aspect. And it's believed that, like at Samhain, the veil between the living and the spirit world is thinner. For Wiccans, this Sabbat is considered a holiday of love and romance, for this is the time the god and goddess come together. The summer solstice, also known as Litha or midsummer, is the longest day of the year. This occurs on around June 20th and 21st in the Northern Hemisphere and December 21st and 22nd in the Southern Hemisphere. Solar energy is at its apex, and the power of nature is at its height. In some neo-pagan traditions, this is when the Holly King once again battles the Oak King. And this is a time of merriment and celebration. At Lunasa, which is also known as Lammas, occurs on August 1st in the Northern Hemisphere and February 1st in the Southern. This is when the major harvest of the summer has ripened. It's a time for harvesting grains, giving thanks for the growth that has happened, and to enjoy the warmth and light that is still to come. For many Wiccans, Lunasa marks when the god's power begins to decline. And for some pagans, it's the time when the multi-talented Celtic god Lu transfers his power to the grain. When the grain is harvested and baked into bread, his cycle of life is complete. The autumn equinox, also called Mabon or Mabon, marks a seasonal change and second harvest. This falls on around September 22nd and 23rd in the Northern Hemisphere, and March 20th and 21st in the Southern. At this point, the nights become longer than the days. Traditionally, it's when fruits and vegetables are harvested, when autumn begins, and when Wiccans believe the goddess moves from mother to crone. It's a time to give thanks for all that has been provided. Samhain, best known as Halloween, is Celtic New Year's Eve and the final harvest. It occurs on October 31st and November 1st in the Northern Hemisphere, and April 30th and May 1st in the Southern Hemisphere. It's when the veil between the world of the living and the dead is the thinnest. It's also when many pagans believe spirits roam the earth and when communication with them is easiest. Samhain is a time to honor all those who have come before, for all that was gifted to us during the year, to ask for guidance, and to set intentions as the turning of the wheel begins again. Many Wiccans believe this is when the god dies and when the goddess is in her full power in her crone aspect and pregnant with the god that will be born at Yule, and hence the cycle begins again. This is a powerful night for magic. Now, as I stated at the beginning of this episode, the Wheel of the Year was never celebrated in full by any one particular pre-Christian culture. It wasn't celebrated by any Wiccans until the Wiccan culture was created around the mid-1900s. There are some Wiccans, witches, and pagans who only observe and celebrate half of the sabbats, either the quarters or cross quarters. And there are others who reject the Wheel of the Year altogether. I personally have a Druid friend who calls it a monstrosity. There are so many unique paths in paganism that it becomes important to keep an open mind. Your geographical location, the culture you were brought up in, and the physical environment around you, nature, can play a role in what you believe and choose to follow. As it is, there are two hemispheres to consider. While it is winter in the Northern Hemisphere, it will be summer in the Southern. While pagans in North America are celebrating Samhain, those in Australia will be celebrating Beltane. In that spirit, You may wish to observe or celebrate the sabbats to better fit the seasonal correspondences to your locale. Or you may highlight different themes for each sabbat as you experience it. No matter where you live on the globe or what kind of place you live in, be it urban, suburban, or rural, nature will be around you in some way, shape, or form. You can adapt your Sabbat traditions to suit your own life and environment. And I've personally noticed a surge in people no longer swimming against the tide, so to speak. Instead, many, and this is including myself, are choosing to embrace each season's unique energies. Whether a season calls for darkness and going within, or a Sabbat calls for learning and starting something new, flowing with the energies of nature is beneficial on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physiologically. So, whether you choose to celebrate one Sabbat, 4 Sabbats, or all 8, it's important to remember that humans, not just pagans, witches, or Wiccans, are a part of nature. And when we move with nature's tide, other aspects of our lives flow more smoothly. Thank you for joining me in this episode. I appreciate you taking the time to share this space with me. If this has resonated with you, please take a second to follow or subscribe, leave a review or comment, or share this with someone who may be venturing down a spiritual path and has a hunger to learn and grow. I will see you next time. Stay cozy and take care.